I turned it on until you said okay.
We'll call the meeting to order. And then the first thing is the approval of minutes. I don't see, oh, there's, I don't see roll call. There's no roll call. No, they didn't put roll call on. Roll call. Okay.
Brown,
Down here.
Bras, Kopi,
Kopi, yes, here.
Leonard, Sanchez,
Sanchez here.
Allen, Kenyon.
Here. Leonard and Leonard's upstairs with a meeting with the chairman, so he'll be down there. Oh, well, we don't have Bates on, so nobody says anything about that. Now we need a unanimous approval of the
Brown will
minutes.
ask for unanimous
Mr. Brown
consent.
does that. There's no objections where they stand approve. Is there public comment? We have a public, but she doesn't want to comment. The financial report are attached for your perusal. What the hell? No wonder this is the wrong, I got the wrong one.
Agenda.
There we go. Kane County Farm Bureau update, Steve Arnold.
Good morning. I will be brief. First, I want to compliment the new King County Connects format. I really like the format, and I was on the King County Connects this morning and found a couple of interesting things. One is the city of Aurora is having a pollinator festival this weekend at Phillips Park Zoo on Saturday. And there was a link to a Facebook event invite. And it looks like as of this morning, 2,600 people had responded to that. There was also an article on King County Connects this morning from Tuesday about the state of Illinois making a $550,000 appropriation to pay FFA dues for all ag education students in the state. And I thought this was interesting. There were 37,000 students enrolled in agriculture classes throughout the state of Illinois last year, but the FFA membership was 23,000. And so by doing so, by the state making this appropriation, all students who are taking FFA or taking agriculture classes in the state of Illinois will now be members of their local FFA chapters. So as for the Farm Bureau locally, we are working right now on county fair prep. The county fair is July 13th through the 17th. We're working on installations for a little lending library of agricultural literacy resources that we'll put up at our office, and hope to receive plans this week or early next week from NCAP for an expanded prairie pollinator rain garden at our office. We're also working on a mid-July scholarship and donor recognition event. On a statewide basis, I know there are all types of information sources out there, but our state organization has a news site called Farm Week Now, and it's very much like King County Connects, just daily updates on agricultural news stories. And one of the things that I think is kind of interesting on there right now is we've got about a 5-minute Q&A with all of the gubernatorial candidates. So all of the candidates recorded answers to about 4 different questions, and that can be found on that Farm Week Now site. There's also some information on the Taste of Randolph Street and an entity that the Farm Bureau coordinates with other commodity groups throughout the state, and their participation in the Taste of Randolph Street in downtown Chicago this week. And then also locally, we just learned last week that Andy and Sarah Linkaitis, who operate Linkaitis Dairy, Linkaitis Holsteins, west of St. Charles, were named to the inaugural class of Illinois 20 by 40 leaders. So 2 of the 20, Andy and Sarah were both named individually to that class for their leadership and community service. So congratulations to the Linkaitis family.
Are there any questions for Stephen? What's this Illinois Ag Leadership? What is that?
Illinois Ag Leadership is a statewide leadership development program that accepts, I believe, 30 applicants every other year for a 2-year leadership training course on state, national, and international policy issues. And I am not sure where they are right now, if they have recruited, since it's a 2-year program. I believe that they are in the middle of their 2022-2023 class.
Thank you. We welcome Mr. Fraz and Mr. Leonard, who came late. So
Thank you,
we'll
Mr.
add them
Chairman.
to the roll call. The Northern Illinois Food Bank. Certainly.
Also Shepro.
Oh, and Mr. Shapiro. Wow. And Chairman Perrock. So we have a full house, so to speak. The Northern Illinois Food Bank, are you online?
Yes, hi, this is Tracy Kelsey. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So I just have a brief update today. Most of the work we're doing right now is with Feeding America and Feeding Illinois, prepping for the White House Conference on Hunger in September, and also the Farm Bill, the 2023 Farm Bill, and preparing our priorities for that. But I do have a update as far as the increase in numbers of people we're seeing coming out for help. We've seen about I believe it was I don't want to misquote. I know we're seeing about a 51% increase in the number of people who are reaching out for SNAP assistance, so the Supplemental Nutrition Food Assistance Program. Of the number of people who reach out, about half of them end up getting some sort of essentially completing an application. We don't necessarily know if they are approved, but about half of those people are getting application assistance. Others, we can tell them they don't qualify, and share with them where some pantries are if they do need some extra help. But that's a pretty big leap in the last few months for us to see. And then the other number I was going to share is just that we've seen close to a 40% increase in the number of neighbors we're serving overall compared to last summer. And that might be going up. That's the last data I was given. But between inflation, gas prices, and people still coming off of some struggles, we're seeing a lot of numbers. So that's part of the reason we're so focused on the Farm Bill, is because we're spending a lot more money than we normally do on purchasing food, instead of just getting the donated food that we are used to getting. But with supply chain issues and donations generally being down, we know that we can't sustain it for the long term, purchasing all that extra food. So we really want to get at the table for the Farm Bill and for the White House Conference to make sure folks know where we stand, where food banks are standing, how much money we're spending on purchased food, and asking for assistance through the TFAP, which is the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and then SNAP. Those are the two big ones in the Farm Bill that we focus on here at the food bank. Yeah, so that's pretty much my only updates for today. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Mr. Brown?
No questions?
No questions? All right.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Just think how bad it would be if we didn't have the food bank there trying to help people.
I would agree. I would agree.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. A question, can't we help you with the advocacy for the Farm Bill?
I hope so. So right now what we're doing is meeting with our as all of the food banks within Feeding Illinois, so all of the 7 food banks in Illinois are meeting and trying to make sure that we're aligned on priorities. And once we are, once we've got sort of our priorities in order of importance, that's when we'll be sharing out more information on, how people can help us advocate for those as well.
All right, okay. So
That'd be
make sure you let us know and we'll be at that table,
Thank you. I appreciate it.
literally and figuratively.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on for the presentation. Matt Tinsley, you going to do this?
I am, yes. All right, so back in April, at the April meeting, we had a couple of presentations talking about a new program partnership between the Illinois Farmers Market Association and Kane County to provide mini grants and matching grants to organizations that are providing important food services for BIPOC communities in Kane County. And so we have since then received around 20 applications, and we've had the chance to review those with the Illinois Farmers Market Association, and we've identified 12 that met the eligibility criteria that we set up for this mini grant program. So today I just wanted to take some time to share a little bit about each of these grantees so you can see what kind of work they're doing and how they're going to be using this funding to support their businesses and their organizations and the good work that they're doing for supporting local food access. And so they generally fall into these two categories. So we have the farm businesses that applied on the left, and we also had a number of nonprofit community organizations, and many of those operate urban growing operations or community gardens throughout the county. And so both of those groups were eligible for the work that they're doing and for the customers and the residents that they serve. So just a quick look at kind of how the funding is broken out here. So half of the funding is being dispersed by the Illinois Farmers Market Association. So they, we supported an application that they completed for funding from an outside foundation. And so the original grants will be for $1,500 for each of the 12 applicants. And so we are proposing to match that with Kane County's economic development funds as a dollar for dollar match. And so we have a resolution to go along with this request, which updates a previous one, just so the amounts reflect the number of applicants and the funding that's available. Okay, so just we'll take a quick look at some of the applicants or the approved applicants. The first one is Garlic Breath Farm. They operate out of the Elgin area, and they have, they're one of our smaller farm operations, and they specialize in a number of different varieties of garlic. And they are requesting funding for a compost spreader. Because right now they've been using like a front end loader to pick up the compost and move it and spread it. So having a compost spreader is just going to make the act of spreading compost just a lot easier and more efficient for them. Next, we have the downtown Elgin Farmers Market. And they're going to be using funding to really just kind of enhance some of their marketing activities. They're looking to do some increased social media work and having some print materials. And they're looking to kind of expand their marketing presence in some of the low-income communities. And so, okay, we'll go next. Next, we have Charity Blooms, which is a community garden that supports the Marie Wilkinson food pantry. And so they are developing an educational program. So they're going to be offering classes on a couple of topics, including nutrition, food preparation, and food preservation. And so they've been a really successful organization. Just they operate on a really, relative to other farms, a relatively small site in Aurora, and they just grow an incredible amount of food on that space. So this is just going to help them kind of expand into some educational areas that will support their growing activities. Next, we have School District U46. Now they, before the pandemic, have been growing on some acreage next to their food distribution center in Elgin. And so that was suspended for a bit during the pandemic, but they're starting to ramp that up again. So they're going to be able to use the funding to purchase some needed garden tools, seeds, fertilizer, and a watering system to just make everything a little bit easier to manage. Next, we have Rustic Road Farm, again, another Elburn operation, and they're going to be using funding to sort of support their presence at a new market. And so they're going to use funds for a tent, for fuel costs, and delivery boxes. And they really have one of the more expansive CSA programs in the county. It's 700 members. I'm not aware of another CSA program that has more than that. So they've really got a really strong presence in the county. Next, we have Mighty Greens Farm, again, another Elburn-based farm. And they are going to use the funds to set up a new vegetable processing station. So they're going to purchase tanks, sprayers, plumbing supplies, and it's just going to make the process of cleaning and prepping vegetables for sale just a lot easier. And then next, the Garden Works project is they're based in DuPage County, but they have been expanding their reach into Kane County in recent years. So they're going to be supporting a program in Batavia. So it's going to be expanding a community garden program at the Batavia Mercy Housing Apartments complex. So in addition to refreshing these existing community garden beds, they're going to be adding balcony container gardens so that the residents are going to have gardens that they can, grow and plant within their homes. Next, we have Glory Gardens, Batavia-based organization, and they manage a couple of gardens up and down the Fox River Valley, including one at the Ginger Creek Community Church. And this organization also supplies produce to the Marie Wilkinson Food Pantry and the Batavia Interfaith Food Pantry. And the funds are just going to help offset the cost of plants, planting materials, trellis fencing, and truck rentals so that everything can be delivered and transported where it needs to go. Next, we have the Marie Wilkinson Food Pantry. They have a community garden that they manage, and so the funds are going to support a couple of upgrades to their gardens, including some new raised bed gardens with actually with integrated composting systems. So it's actually a pretty unique system where you have a composting unit that sits within a garden bed. So the composter works in an integrated way with the garden beds to provide nutrients from the composting. And we also have the Just Food Initiative of the Fox Valley. This is a Batavia-based organization, and they are proposing to launch a one-day farmers market in East Aurora. So this is an area that hasn't really been served well by having easy local food access. So this is really going to be a pilot program to see if there is interest and demand for this type of market to serve this community. And so they'll be using the funding for tents and tables and costs related to promoting the event, in the newspaper and with yard signs. Next, we have Fox Valley Food for Health. Their kitchen, I believe, is located in Geneva, and they're an organization that prepares fresh meals for cancer patients and other patients with serious illness. And they've also partnered with the Mooseheart School to utilize their property for a garden that they can control and they can use to supply the fresh produce for their fresh prepared meals. So they're going to use that funding to support the garden, including soil amendments, plants, tools, and to cover some of the wages for a garden coordinator. And lastly, we have Pasik Farms. They just recently opened a farm store in Elgin, which is the site of where Klein's used to have one of their farm store locations. So they're leasing it from Klein's, and they're going to use the funding to purchase 2 freezers, which is going to give them a lot more flexibility to distribute the meat products that they provide, because they specialize in livestock. And so that is it. So we do also have the resolution before you today. And basically, just to summarize that will increase the individual match amount from 1,000 to 1,500. So we have 12 applicants, and that would be a total of $18,000 as the maximum that would be utilized from the Economic Development Fund. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
We need a motion for that.
Leonard moves.
Seconds. Is there discussion? Bill?
Yes, I'd like to ask a question of Matt. I noticed on the Just Gart Food Initiative where they're going to the east side of Aurora to see if it's a feasible market. I know nothing about cost of groceries or produce, so I'm naive on this
Go
area.
to the store.
I know I don't shop very much, but I'm wondering, are the prices of the products in these open markets competitive with grocery stores, more expensive, lower? I really don't know.
Well, there is a bit of a premium typically, but many of the markets do offer, do take SNAP benefits. And so that's something that, we would certainly encourage them to incorporate, because that obviously goes a long way to support folks that don't have, the means to pay what, you might typically expect at a farmer's market. So that's, yeah, so as we work with them, that's something we would certainly encourage and support. And again, that's something the Farmers Market Association has been a pretty strong advocate of as well.
Well, I appreciate that. Matt, the second part of my concern is, or not concern, but I want to make sure that we have enough funds available. There are 12 applicants and we're raising the individual from 1,000 to 1,500. So we have 18,000, but in the original resolution, we said up to 25. Are you reducing that up to 25 to 18 now, saying no more applicants are allowed, or how's that going to work?
So we had the application period open for at least a couple weeks. And so within that time frame, we received around 20. And so we did have to narrow it based on the applicants that fit with the intent of the grant, which was to serve those BIPOC communities in Kane County. And so, based on that, many of them did have additional need beyond the original planned amount of $1,000 as the match. So we were able to increase that based on, what we had planned to set aside up to 25,000, but based on the number of applicants,
Thank you.
that wasn't needed.
Perfect.
Yeah, to further answer that question, Mark Van Kerkhoff. So the funds that we have available are from Fund 400 Economic Development, which the county board is very generously and successfully set aside through the Riverboat annual process, so that we have funds to be agile and quickly respond to grant opportunities like this. So in concept, worked with the Farmers Market Association to do a match, not knowing how many applicants we were going to have. So we kind of went with that maximum. So with the 18, as a staff, we're recommending doing a 1-to-1 match, but we have the funds set aside. If you wanted to do a larger match, you could increase the match if you wanted to. But the funds are there and available. We think this is a great win for utilizing an existing match program that would do, some good with the funds they have available by doubling the money.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Drew, did you have a question?
No, I don't.
We're ready to vote?
Mhm.
Okay, Paramount.
Brown,
Brown, yes.
Braz,
Raz, yes.
Gopi. Gopi,
Copy, yes.
thank you. Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, 100% yes.
Allen, Kenyon.
Yes,
Passes.
the motion, resolution passes. You have anything else, Mark?
Mainly, I just wanted to thank Matt and Janice and Janie Maxwell with the Illinois Farmers Market Association. This was like light speed from the time they had the grant opportunity to applying for it, to being awarded the grant and doing the application and having, funds going out, during the market season here. It's just been a really good experience, and we're thrilled by the organizations and farms that came through. I will note, as we continue to work with the ARPA funding that we've applied for internally for agricultural supports, we're continuing to work with these grants that we've been getting in the meantime to see how we can use those funds to continue, these good works and supports in the most effective way. So we're excited about continuing this work and very grateful for the grants and the work of our team and partners.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Madam Chair Wolf.
Just Madam Chair is fine. Thank you. I have a question. Most of the grants and the participation seems to be in the Elburn, Batavia, Geneva area. servicing southern part of Kane County. There's an extensive farmland further north as well. Are there any organic farmer markets or farms located in that area?
I don't know that we have any exclusive organic farmers.
The similar.
Maybe I'm not clear on your question.
Well, remember,
The-
all grass farm is all organic.
Everything is
That's
organic.
Dundee.
Except for this microphone.
Yeah, we can
But I'm
share,
just, most of the applicants we just reviewed are all from
Central
Burn,
Office. Central
Batavia.
That's
G-
because they're better.
Second.
Yeah, right.
Me to
Who are
respond.
great
A
people.
biased comment from Brown.
The opportunity to apply for the grant went to all farmers as well as some organizations that we knew met the criteria of the grant. This particular grant that I wrote for Illinois Farmers Market Association, because I'm on the board with them, right? And so it was very specific to serve the BIPOC community. Okay. And this particular grant opportunity first went to ILFMA. They responded to it. The announcement went to all of the farms and all the community groups that serve the BIPOC community. Then they self-selected whether or not they wanted to apply, if they felt that they met that requirement, either if they were BIPOC or if they served the community. There were some that we encouraged to revise their application so that they met the requirement. They chose not to do that. And then after that, the Illinois Farmers Market Association approved the grants. And then previously, based on the Agriculture Committee's recommendation, they would approve whatever for match ILFMA approved. So there certainly are farmers markets throughout the northern part of the county and local food farms as well. We will have some upcoming grant opportunities. We can't announce yet, but I think Mark is hoping for July to be able to announce that. Open that opportunity to all of our local food farms and specialty crop farms. Okay, right.
I totally agree that Batavia's got some of the finest soil in Illinois and need I say the Midwest. I would like to share some of that wealth further up north as well.
I saw you come in the room with pictures. Do you want to show them to us?
I would like to invite everyone to visit these pictures and take a look at them. These are the prints that were donated by Steve, and we have them framed. And thank you for the help of bringing them down. They look stunning, absolutely beautiful, and we have more upstairs. But now that they're down here, we can start looking for a home for them because I want them in the lobby
Okay.
or in here, but I'm not.
You want me to take one home or no?
Absolutely not, sir.
Try to ask. Is there anything, any other questions? For the moment you're waiting for, I have a question of the day.
Oh.
When is the Kane County Fair?
In July.
When is it? And the last day? 17th. Anyway, close enough. I give you homegrown honey.
all right.
I have bees on the farm and it's easy to give it away. Is there anything else to come before the board? Because we've got to get Mr. Brown. He's looking at a free lunch.
Yeah, I gotta get out of here.
And Mr. Frost?
Just going back to our last subject, I just would like to point out that the King County Board, as led by the Development Department, came up with the Rustic Road Program many, many years ago. And I happen to live on one, Brundage Road. In 1.5 miles of road, we have 3 organic farms right now. So, the program, the Rustic Road Program was to promote that sort of thing in ag tourism. And it's totally worked in that case, so.
Mr. Chairman, Bates, please.
Hello, Ms. Bates. What's up?
As a member of the Band of Urban Farmers, I have 4 raised beds in my backyard. I'd like, and they're doing good. I'd like to know if we're in some kind of a drought right now. Did we suddenly with the heat? Is this a drought or not?
I don't know what the numbers are when you get to a drought, but we've been many days without rain. Usually tell when your yard dries up and the only thing that grows is weeds. That's a drought.
Okay.
There you go.
Yes.
All right.
Michelle, would you like to speak? Michelle DeRate? Glory Gardens lady.
Hello, is it on? I was invited by Cindy for the Just Food Initiative Farmers Market in Aurora. And I'm going to be a vendor there in support of what her cause is there. And a lot of the things that I've talked with Cindy about with that is she wants the booths that are a part of this as vendors to be also very educational to that community and to make them aware that they can grow food, even if they have a small plot with container gardens or something in their backyard, which is the second side of what I do in my business, which is growing food in 4 gardens to donate to the food pantries. And then I also have a garden consultant business where if I could get a group of people in that community, I can go down there a couple days a week, help them set up their gardens, and then kind of educate them on how to do something like that. So I'm excited to be a part of that in August. And it is education. Everybody, if you ask randomly 10 people out in public if they have a garden, they say no, but I would love to. I just don't know how to do it. So it's just that big question over everybody's head, always wanting to grow food. They just don't know how to do it. And so it is quite simple. It is very intimidating for somebody who has no idea what they're doing. So I want to help educate as much as possible. And like you had asked about food costs in those markets, yes, there's usually a premium. But because I donate my food on a regular daily basis anyway, I would feel bad to charge people in that community for my food. So I would maybe ask for a donation or just keep my pricing super low because I don't charge for my food regardless. People come over and get vegetables out of my garden and they're like, what do I owe you? I'm like, bring me an iced coffee next week. I mean, I don't charge for what I grow. I just want to give it to people and let them know that they're getting something fresh from a garden way sooner than if somebody was getting it from a grocery store. Because like 95% of all of our produce is coming from Arizona and California. So it's picked when it's green and then it's ripening in these trucks and trains coming over to us. So even the food pantries are eating better produce than people that go to Whole Foods and buy those organic vegetables. So I'm excited to be a part of that Just Food Initiative in that farmers market down in Arizona. I'm looking forward to it.
Anything else to come before the committee? I'm working on your answer, Madam Chairman, yes, about biodiesel. I will get it to you. We have the head of the Soybean Association lives in Kane County, Steve Pitstick. He's the elected president. And I called him and he's going to get me the proper information.
The conversation I had, my son is a chemical engineer, and I was talking about the environment and diesel fuel. And he said, oh, Mom, by the way, I toured a plant down in Alabama who's developing diesel using soybean. And I said, where'd they get the soybean from? Knowing that Illinois is a great soybean producer. And he said, from Peru. I think it was Peru. And I went, well, Illinois got good soybean. And I wanted to know if that diesel fuel was pure and less pollutant than the other diesel fuel. And it's not. He assured me that Mom, it's diesel fuel. Well, yeah, but it's made with soybean. I'm saying, no, Mom, it's diesel fuel. So then I asked.
I'm going to correct that for you, but I'll get you. The only test I found was from the year 2000.
Okay.
And we need it up to date.
So if you can up to date me, I
I
can
will.
share knowledge with my son and he'll think that I'm, all that.
KDOT uses biodiesel.
Yes. So.
We're with the soybeans, we're winding down June, which is dairy month. And remember, without dairy, you don't have ice cream, you don't have yogurt, you don't have cheese, so it would be, can you imagine a world without pizza? So that's how important dairy is. All right, if there's nothing else to come before the meeting, do we have to find, we have reports on file. Would you move?
Leonard moves.
Frost seconds. Roll call.
Brown,
Brown, yes.
Bras,
Yes.
Gopi,
yes.
Leonard,
Leonard, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Kenyon.
Yes.
Pass.
Now we need a motion to adjourn.
Move we
That would
adjourn.
be Mr. Brown. Second by Mr. Leonard. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're done.